Hi guys, welcome to my channel. This is Emily Cupelli for the Gerda Steiner Designs blog hub, and for today's card I'll be using the Alien Invasion and Blast Off stamp sets. I already stamped my images on Strathmore watercolor paper using my archival ink in jet black and fussy cut them. Now I'm coloring them using my distress inks in Spiced Marmalade and Fired Brick. I'm using a watercolor brush and some water to get a watercolor effect with my distress inks. The general idea for my card was to make the solar system and have the planets rotating around the suns where our friendly alien lives. At the beginning I thought about coloring him in purple or fuchsia to make him or her stand out on top of the sun. Anyhow, since he lives in the sun, I ended up deciding to give him a nice tan, and that is how I chose his colors. Of course, you can simply use your favorite color or the recipient's favorite color to color him. Also, I chose this particular alien because he kinda looks like if he were melting, so I thought he was the perfect image for this particular card. I used these colors to color one of my planets as well. For the Earth, I went with the traditional blue and green colors, for which I used the faded chintz and forest moss distress inks. Since I didn't want the Earth to be the only blue and green in my card, I used those same colors to color the other planet, which can be any planet you want or also can be used as a moon. As I just said, to balance the blue and green in the card, I'll use it as a blue and green planet. Remember that this video is part of the Gerda Steiner Designs blog hub, so visit each blog and leave a comment to have the chance to win 1 out of 3 coupons to the store. You could win a $25, $15, or $10 coupon. All comments must be made by Sunday, April 17th at 11:59 p.m. Pacific Time. Here I used my 4 biggest circular dies from C6 to die cut some frames. I used the biggest and smallest one to die cut a white and black frame, and the two in the middle to die cut a thin white frame. Then used the biggest circle to die cut a watercolor panel. Now we'll color the watercolor circular panel using my fossilized amber, distress ink, and a round blending tool. I started at the center of the circle and blended the colors to the edges of it. Originally, I tried this with regular cardstock, but I got a lot of harsh lines and not a smooth blended effect. So I highly recommend you to use watercolor paper if you are going to blend the colors starting on the middle of the paper and not on the edges. Now I'll use the solid glitter stars in my stamp sets and a silver ink pad to stamp some stars on my black frame. I love these glitter solid stamps since they work great to create your own background or pattern paper, as well as adding nice accents to your cards. I started using the 3 stars stamp all around the frame, and then filled the rest of it with the individual star. If you only have the individual star, you can simply stamp one by one. Or if you only have the 3 stars together, you can partially ink it to stamp one single star or even cut it apart. Once I finish stamping all the stars I want in my frame, I'll fill it even more, adding some dots with my metallic jelly roll pen from Sakura in silver. You can use a Stardust silver pen or even some stickles or liquid pearls if you prefer. I'm trying to add the dots very randomly, drawing some of them smaller and some a bit bigger. I really like how this frame turned out. It really looks like shining stars in the sky, and it was very easy and fast to make, which is even better. Then I added some dry adhesive to the thick white frame and stick it to another circle I die cut out of acetate, although you can skip that step if you prefer and leave the window open. Now I'll align the black frame with the thin frame to make sure I have the foam tape cut to the right width. As you can see here, I already cut a thin strip of foam tape and removed the backing paper from both sides of it. That will help me bend the foam tape to fit the circular shape. I'll keep adding it until I have a little wall of foam tape all around my frame. Here you can see that I cut another piece of white cardstock for each of my planets. I'm adding some adhesive to the back of them to stick them to the thin frame. I'm trying to add the adhesive only to the area that is going to lay on the frame. Then we'll use the colored planets only as a guide to know where I want to stick the white planets, and we'll stick them on top of the frame. We'll do this same procedure with all of the planets. I'm using the piece of white cardstock instead of the coin that usually is used in the slider cards because a coin or even any of the buttons I have are too big for these little planets, so I decided to make my own version of a slider. Also, I made the window to add even more interest to it, but you can make it directly on top of the circular panel that I am using for the inside of the card. Once I stick all the planet silhouettes to the frame, we'll cut the areas that are sticking out of the frame. Now we'll rub off with my finger any extra adhesive that is not behind the frame, but you can also use an adhesive eraser for this. Then we'll go over the back of the planets with my powder bag to remove any stickiness that may still remain from the adhesive. Now we'll place the thin frame inside the black one and we'll stick the frame with the acetate to it. Then added some foam tape to the white planets and we'll stick the watercolored planets to them, making sure I align them very well. I forgot to give my alien a mouth, and I could leave him like that, but I love that you have a couple of options for the mouths and that you can choose the one you prefer, so I went ahead and did that. Then I colored the tongue with the fired brick. Wasn't sure if I wanted to color the inside of the mouth, but off camera ended up coloring it in black. Now we'll score the top of the yellow panel, making sure I don't make the crease lower than the width of the black frame, and we'll add some adhesive to it. Then we'll stick the panel I just put together to it. That finished the card base. Now we'll add adhesive to the back of my alien and we'll stick it to the inside of my card. To write my message, I could add another panel to the back of the card and make almost a three-fold card with it, or write it in the back of the card. Also, I can add a short message around the inside panel to say a quick hello. And here you can see the slider in action, for which I like to use both hands to make it spin. This is a bit different than the traditional slider, but still I love the final result. I think it turned out really cool and fun. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and subscribe to my channel if you are not subscribed yet. Don't forget to visit my blog to see a list of supplies and more close-up pictures. In the description box you can find the next step of this blog hop. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye!